Heartbroken fans are reeling today after Caitriona Balfe finally broke her silence, telling the whole truth about Sam Heughan. And what she revealed has left the Outlander community stunned. Caitriona Balfe has opened up in a way fans never expected. After years of speculation, rumors, and endless online drama surrounding her relationship with Sam Heughan, the actress has spoken out with raw honesty, and her emotional confession has shaken the fandom. According to Katrina, the widespread myths about her and Sam have taken a personal toll. She revealed that the constant pressure, fan fantasies, and false narratives have created distance, misunderstandings, and emotional strain behind the scenes. For the first time, she admitted how exhausting it has been to watch people twist their friendship into something it was never meant to be. Katrina explained that she and Sam built a deep, respectful bond while filming Outlander, but the outside noise made it harder to maintain that connection without constant speculation. She revealed that both of them wanted fans to understand the truth. Their relationship is rooted in mutual admiration, not secret romance or behind-the-scenes chaos. Her emotional truth-telling has broken hearts across the fandom, especially as she hinted that the pressure may have affected their ability to enjoy the early seasons and the fame that came with them. Fans say her honesty feels like a painful reminder of how intense public expectations can damage even the strongest friendships. Despite the heavy revelations, Katrina also expressed gratitude, saying Sam has been one of her greatest supporters throughout her career and that their bond remains meaningful, even if it has been tested. For longtime Outlander viewers, Katrina's truth has hit hard. Many say they never realized how much she and Sam were carrying behind their smiles, red carpet moments, and on-screen chemistry. Now, as both stars move forward with new projects and the final chapter of Outlander, Katrina's heartfelt confession has become one of the most emotional turning points in the show's off-screen history. Ebon Moss-Bachrach and Caitriona Balfe are teaming up for Andrew Haig's chilling new film, A Long Winter, and fans of prestige cinema are already losing it. Here's why this casting is a big deal. Written and directed by Haigh from his own adaptation of Colm Tóibín's short story, A Long Winter is being positioned as a reflective domestic drama that explores how families brace themselves, practically and emotionally, for what lies ahead when seasons, both meteorological and personal, begin to close in. Although the production has kept plot specifics intentionally spare, synopsis material supplied to festival and distributor pages describes a family living in the high mountains where the end of fall is not just a change of weather, but an existential turning point as they prepare for the long winter ahead. That framing suggests Haigh will continue mining the small, resonant moments between relatives that defined his last film, All of Us Strangers. Haigh, whose films are notable for their careful pacing, quiet ruptures, and an eye for interior detail, is a natural match for Tóibín's crystalline, emotionally precise prose. Turning a short story into a feature-length screenplay often requires expanding interior states into visual sequences and creating a sense of duration. Haigh's previous work has demonstrated an ability to translate interiority into cinematic time, a likely reason MUBI and Film 4 backed the project. Casting that balances prestige and discovery. The new casting announcements add an interesting mixture of established screen talent and younger actors on upward trajectories. Ebon Moss-Bachrach, most recently prominent for his work on the acclaimed series The Bear, brings a kind of feral empathy that could be used to anchor a family member worn thin by responsibility. Caitriona Balfe, whose film credits range from Belfast to Ford v Ferrari, and whose long-running television success on Outlander gave her wide recognition, joins the cast in a part that trade reports suggest is central to the family dynamic. The production also lists actors including Fred Hetchinger, Kit Connor, and D. Pharaoh Wu-Natai among the principals, indicating Haigh is assembling a generationally varied ensemble. Additional casting reported in trade outlets, names such as Manuel Garcia Rulfo and David Furr, rounds out a roster that can move between naturalistic interior scenes and moments that require theatrical intensity. The tenor of these trades implies Haigh is aiming for a film that will appeal to discerning festival audiences while remaining accessible to art house and streaming channels. Where and when? The Canadian Rockies as a character. Production sources say cameras are rolling in Alberta, Canada, where the landscape's long autumns and early snows will provide a visual backbone for the story's seasonal stakes. Shooting in the Canadian Rockies gives the production latitude to render winter as something that arrives slowly but inexorably, a metaphor Haigh is likely to exploit. The location also suggests logistical commitments. Remote, high-altitude shoots can be demanding on cast, crew, and equipment, and they often inflect a production with a particular physical realism that studio-bound shoots can't easily replicate. MUBI and Film 4's involvement is telling. Both outfits have increasingly placed big bets on director-driven, festival-forward cinema that can also find an audience on streaming and limited theatrical release. MUBI's global curatorial platform and Film 4's history of nurturing British and international auteurs make them a strong pairing for Haigh, whose profile has risen in recent years among awards voters and cinephiles alike. Their backing signals confidence that A Long Winter has both artistic ambition and marketable talent. What this casting says about tone and themes. Hay's past films have been preoccupied with memory, masculinity, shame, and the fragile webs of connection that hold people in place. Casting Moss Bachrach, an actor skilled at conveying volatile interior life, and Balf can ground emotional stakes in plain-spoken truth, hints at a film that will favor slow-burn revelations over melodramatic beats. The presence of younger actors such as Kit Connor, who has been increasingly visible in prestige circles, implies that generational tension or the passing of caretaking responsibilities could be central to the narrative architecture. Trade notices have not released character names or relationship maps, but based on the source material and the talent attached, one can reasonably expect Haigh to craft a film where the mountains and the encroaching winter become more than backdrop. They'll act as catalysts, compressing emotional time and forcing characters to confront choices they might otherwise have deferred. Production ambitions and festival trajectory. Given Hay's track record and MUBI and Film 4's distribution patterns, industry observers are already speculating that A Long Winter will be aimed at the festival circuit next year once post-production is complete. Hay's previous feature, All of Us Strangers, carved a path that mixed awards season visibility with a robust cinephile following, a model that a carefully modulated film like A Long Winter could emulate. If the film's tone and performances align with early expectations, festival programmers in Venice, Toronto, and Telluride might be natural launchpads. Those festivals have previously rewarded films with similar tonalities, austere, performance-driven works that reward patience. MUBI has been increasingly active in the festival to streaming pipeline, acquiring and distributing films that travel the festival circuit and then find wider life on the company's streaming service. Film 4, similarly, has used festival premieres to amplify award season campaigns and then worked with theatrical and streaming partners to widen a film's reach. The partnership puts A Long Winter in a position to pursue both critical recognition and a thoughtful, if not mass-market, audience. Creative collaborators and the look of the film. Trade coverage lists no final production designer or cinematographer publicly yet. Details typically emerge as a shoot progresses. But the choice of Alberta suggests a naturalistic, wide-frame aesthetic that can contain both portrait intimate and landscape-scale compositions. Hay's previous films favored close, patient frames and an economy of movement. Placed against the vastness of A Mountain Winter, that style can amplify emotional claustrophobia. Costumes, sound design, and editing will be crucial to turning seasonal weather into metaphor. The crunch of snow, the way breath fogs in the air, even the practicalities of wood stacking and winter preparation can become dramatic signifiers. What they bring to the table. Eben Moss Bachrach has demonstrated range across stage and screen, with recent TV work giving him both exposure and credibility among contemporary viewers. His ability to register inner turbulence without resorting to theatricalism fits well with Hay's preference for restrained, emotionally complex performances. Caitriona Balfe has balanced genre television with prestige cinema. Her capacity to carry quiet emotional weight while projecting an undercurrent of resolution or regret will be useful for any character charged with family responsibility. Fred Hetchinger and Kit Connor, both younger but increasingly prominent, add youthful intensity and the potential for generational friction within the story. Haigh, whose presence suggests Haigh is open to casting actors who bring cultural specificity and fresh perspectives, rounds out a cast that can plausibly represent a family with layered histories and intersecting tensions. Tobin's fiction, compact, emotionally meticulous, and frequently concerned with family, memory, and identity, has long appealed to filmmakers who favor literary source material that is intimate rather than sprawling. Hay's willingness to adapt a short story rather than a novel suggests an interest in compressing mood and interaction into a concentrated cinematic experience. For discerning viewers, adaptations like this can offer the best of both worlds, the literary subtlety of Tobin's prose and the tactile, sensory immediacy of live-action filmmaking. The project also speaks to Mubi and Film 4's ongoing strategy. Invest in directors with distinct points of view and pair them with ensemble casts capable of delivering the kind of nuanced performances festival programmers favor. In a marketplace crowded with franchise films and streaming tentpoles, curatorial platforms and public service producers are carving out space for movies that trade on craft, acting, and direction. A Long Winter slots squarely into that lane. As production continues in Alberta, reporters and fans will watch for a few key developments: the release of a full cast list with character names, the naming of principal creatives, such as director of photography and editor, an official production still or first look image, and an announcement of intended festival plans. Each of those moves will shape how the film is perceived commercially and culturally. Early buzz, often seeded by flattering festival receptions, can help a film like this secure the award season momentum that older, auteur-driven films have relied upon. A Long Winter arrives at a moment when audiences and festivals continue to show appetite for adult, director-driven dramas that foreground performance and craft. With Haigh at the helm and a cast that balances critical heavyweights and emerging talent, the film is poised to become one of the more closely watched auteur projects in the next year's festival cycle. As shooting progresses in the Canadian mountains, the industry will be looking for how Haigh translates Toy-Bean's compact prose into a filmic season that, like all the best winter stories, imagines warmth and rupture in the same breath. The entertainment landscape in 2025 looks dramatically different from what it did even a few years ago. Big-budget franchise films continue to dominate multiplexes, while streaming platforms have become battlegrounds for attention, loyalty, and brand identity. Within that shifting paradigm, a director-driven drama like A Long Winter carries symbolic weight. It reaffirms that the industry still values intricate human stories that don't rely on spectacle or CGI to make an impact. Mubi, in particular, has been aggressive in championing these types of projects. While tech-driven platforms compete for mass market appeal, Mubi has doubled down on curation, positioning itself not as a library of endless content, but as a cultural tastemaker. Their partnership with Film 4, which has a long history of supporting independent UK and international cinema, signals a deliberate intent to fund projects where artistic voice comes first. In that sense, A Long Winter fits neatly into Mubi's brand identity. Haigh represents a modern auteur tradition, one capable of exploring emotional territory with patience, restraint, and a distinctly European sensibility. Producers clearly understand that his work appeals to a demographic hungry for sophisticated, intimate storytelling. That type of loyalty becomes invaluable in a crowded streaming marketplace. The marketing potential behind the cast. Adding Eben Moss-Bachrach and Caitriona Balfe substantially elevates the film's visibility. Both actors have expanded their audiences significantly in recent years. Moss-Bachrach's rise from respected character actor to breakout lead, thanks in large part to his award-winning turn in The Bear, has positioned him as a performer viewers trust to deliver authenticity. His ability to convey emotional weariness and psychological strain with minimal dialogue makes him an ideal fit for a Haigh film where silence often speaks louder than words. Balfe, meanwhile, has spent nearly a decade balancing television superstardom with a successful film career. Her work in Belfast showcased her ability to deliver performances that are warm, aching, and grounded in subtle emotional shifts. the exact ingredients a story like A Long Winter demands. Her fan base, cultivated through years on Outlander, also provides the production with built-in promotional momentum across social media. Balf tends to attract an audience that is deeply engaged, vocal, and supportive of prestige drama. Together, the pair provide cross-demographic appeal. Moss Backrach attracts younger festival and prestige TV audiences, while Balf brings both art house credibility and mainstream reach. The combination stands to broaden the film's impact far beyond the usual indie film channels. Thematic depth, the metaphor of winter. While plot details remain scarce, the symbolism behind the title A Long Winter is already shaping expectations. In film and literature, winter has long served as a metaphor for stasis, reckoning, and endurance. It marks the moment when characters must retreat inward, both physically and emotionally. Haigh, known for using environment as emotional architecture, will likely lean into this metaphor with deliberate precision. The mountains, beautiful, imposing, and isolating, offer an environment ripe for psychological exploration. The looming shift from autumn to winter mirrors the internal transitions characters may face, the dawning realization that life is changing in ways they never planned for. In the context of a family drama, winter can represent a moment of truth-telling, when old secrets or unresolved tensions can no longer be ignored. The erosion of old identities, replaced by new roles or responsibilities. The fear of losing control, especially when nature itself feels indifferent or overwhelming. A test of unity, forcing characters to confront whether they will endure challenges together or fracture under pressure. Haigh's previous work suggests that he will not treat winter as mere seasonal backdrop, but rather as a force that shapes every decision the characters make, the kind of symbolic weight that turns a quiet drama into something universal. Another compelling angle is the film's potential international resonance. Though rooted in the mountains of Alberta and inspired by Irish literature, A Long Winter taps into themes recognizable across cultures. Family obligation, emotional repression, grief, seasonal change, these are experiences that cross geographic and generational boundaries. Festival programmers often seek out films with local specificity but global emotional reach, and A Long Winter appears designed with that balance in mind. The landscape may be uniquely Canadian, but the story's emotional stakes could unfold in any isolated place where families face turning points together. The cast itself reflects that international flavor. Balfe from Ireland, Moss Backrach from the United States, Connor from the UK, and Wonatai from Canada. This mixture of national backgrounds not only broadens marketing potential, but also positions the film as a piece of global art house cinema rather than a regional drama. Early buzz and industry expectations. Though the film is only in the early stages of production, industry insiders have already begun speculating about its award season potential. Haigh's momentum following All of Us Strangers, which performed strongly with critics and saw significant awards recognition, increases the likelihood that distributors will position A Long Winter strategically. A fall festival premiere remains the most probable launch. Venice and Toronto in particular have shown repeated interest in Haigh's work. These festivals also tend to embrace quiet, character-driven dramas that explore the intricacies of human connection, the very type of film Haigh excels in. A positive reception at any major festival could propel the film through the awards corridor, especially in acting and screenplay categories. Moreover, the collaboration between Mubi and Film 4 suggests the film will receive a careful, prestige-oriented marketing campaign, rather than a wide commercial push. This allows the film to cultivate critical acclaim and word-of-mouth momentum without the pressure of matching blockbuster performance. As production advances, more details will undoubtedly surface, including character relationships, narrative focus, and early stills that offer the first look at the film's icy visual palette. For now, the excitement surrounding Eben Moss Backrach and Caitriona Balfe's casting signals a project with both emotional weight and commercial viability. Haigh cinema has always valued the spaces between words, the moments where characters hesitate rather than declare. A Long Winter appears poised to continue that tradition, guided by a cast capable of speaking volumes with silence. With a compelling literary foundation, a director with a masterful grasp of emotional atmosphere, and a production team committed to artistic ambition, the film is already emerging as one of the most anticipated prestige projects of the coming year. Unlike traditional character dramas where conflicts escalate toward dramatic confrontations, Hay's stories unfold through subtle gestures, emotional undercurrents, and the quiet revelations that emerge in moments of vulnerability. Observers familiar with his filmography are expecting that same creative DNA to shape the tone of this new project. Hay's storytelling thrives on the tension between what is said and what is left unsaid. His characters often navigate internal landscapes as complex as the physical ones they inhabit. In 45 Years, a long-buried secret destabilized a marriage. In Lean on Pete, a teenager's desperate journey revealed the cost of abandonment and resilience. In All of Us Strangers, memory and longing intertwined in a haunting, emotionally charged narrative. Applying that storytelling approach to the harsh onset of winter creates enormous cinematic opportunities. The mountain setting isn't just a location, it becomes an emotional environment that mirrors the pressure inside the family home. The physical isolation of the characters may enhance the interpersonal distance or closeness they experience. In Hay's hands, landscape is never neutral, it is always doing emotional work. The source material. Colm Tóibín's short story. Colm Tóibín's short story, the inspiration for the film, is known for its powerfully understated tone. Tóibín writes the kind of elegant economy, focusing on bare, precise emotional beats rather than heavy-handed dramatics. His stories often revolve around people stuck between obligation and desire, silence and revelation, loss and renewal. That kind of material aligns seamlessly with Hay's style. Both artists share a fascination with the emotional architecture of everyday life. Neither relies on explosive twists. Instead, they build tension through slow accumulation. As a result, viewers rarely walk away unmoved. The decision to adapt a short story rather than a novel may prove beneficial. With fewer plot constraints, Hay has room to interpret the source material visually. He can expand moments that were only hinted at in text, emphasize themes that suit his sensibilities, and create new emotional textures through performance and atmosphere. This breathing room allows Hay to shape the film with literary precision while using the cinematic medium to bring Tóibín's emotional nuances into sharper focus. The challenge and opportunity of adaptation. Adapting a short story is both a challenge and an opportunity. Unlike novels, which offer hundreds of pages of dialogue, backstory, and internal monologue, short stories leave much to the imagination. For a director, this can be liberating. The narrative skeleton exists, but the flesh is theirs to build. In A Long Winter, Hay is expected to shape expanded character arcs, giving depth to roles that might have only occupied a few pages in Tóibín's work. Visual motifs tied directly to the changing seasons, perhaps using early snowfall or diminishing sunlight as creative cues. Silences and emotional gaps that build the suspense of what each character is withholding. Tactile realism, grounding the film in physical labor, cold weather preparations, and the practical work of mountain life. Inner conflicts externalized, where the environment pushes characters toward moments of truth. The ability to use landscape as a metaphor gives Hay enormous flexibility in expressing emotional stakes without heavy exposition. Naturalism meets aesthetic precision. If Hay continues along the visual path established in All of Us Strangers, audiences can expect A Long Winter to feature a muted, atmospheric palette, soft natural light, subdued colors, and an overall feeling of lived-in realism. The terrain of Alberta will likely play a critical role in shaping the visual identity of the film. Naturalistic filmmaking in such an environment may involve long, quiet takes that allow the landscape to breathe on screen. Shots of fog rolling across valleys, frost creeping across windows, or the first snow blanketing a cabin could become visual metaphors for emotional tension tightening around the characters. The film's soundscape may also play a meaningful role. The crunch of boots on cold ground, the snapping of firewood, the howl of wind through the trees, all elements that can enhance the emotional resonance of scenes. Haigh knows how to use sound to highlight emotional isolation or connection, and a winter setting offers rich possibilities. What this means for the actors. Actors in Haigh's films are often asked to perform with minimal dialogue and rely instead on expression, physicality, and the tension beneath the surface. This is one reason the casting news generated such interest. Performers like Moss Backrach and Balf thrive in roles that let them express internal conflict through small gestures. In a film where winter is closing in and family bonds are tested under extreme conditions, the cast will likely need to convey fatigue and emotional strain with physical authenticity, perform long, contemplative scenes that reveal inner turmoil, share intimate moments where silence carries emotional weight, navigate simmering tension within their relationships. Kit Connor, Fred Heckinger, and Farah Woontai also stand to benefit from this kind of direction. Each is skilled at playing emotionally vulnerable roles, and Haigh's naturalistic style could bring out some of their strongest work to date.